And let's go.
Hi, this is Politically Correct, and we're going to do a video roundup for this week. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Claire. I'm somebody who leans towards the left on the political spectrum.
And I'm Paris Wade, and I'm a Republican. And we're going to go through videos, political items, and just any news that we think is relevant for the week. And we're going to go through it and we're going to talk about it. Because there's not enough discussion in the modern political climate from people of differing opinions. So we brought it together in our show, Politically Correct.
Let's roll the first clip. The Ingram angle.
The last bite. Well, it's not so much the last bite, maybe, but a kind of last meal. Well,
where's this going?
The Last Supper.
The Last Supper.
All the left people. Okay.
All lefts.
Are you really prepared for this?
Heckin' triggered already.
A warning. Here it is. Okay. The ultimate trigger sculpture.
So can y'all see that? That's a steak.
The Democrats hate steak.
This is a steak behind me.
Plastic straws.
Right here.
And light bulbs. And if I could have put an SUV on this, I would have.
I would love to see you eat an SUV, Laura. Love to.
God, it must have been a really slow news day at Fox.
Oh my God. Don't ask me.
She's inhaled too many vapors,
These are the
too many
light
steak
bulbs that
vapors.
Andrew Yang said are so dangerous to the planet because they burn out too often. I have a question. When you push that into the steak, is there any conduction whatsoever?
It's like
Science.
It's like a potato clock.
Yeah, it's a potato.
A steak clock.
Smithsonian. Thanks for watching this special edition of the Ingram Angle, and we'll see you on Monday.
Oh my
Shannon
God.
Gray, the Fox News at Night team.
So first of all, I have no idea what's so wrong with, wanting products to be more sustainable, like light bulbs that last longer. Like, do you want your light bulbs to burn out? No.
I just think the funniest thing is that steak actually looked a little overdone, but
There probably wasn't that good of a
I'm
steak.
really hungry right now, and they wasted a whole steak for a second.
I know.
mean, it was a really slow news day at Fox.
Somebody took the time to cook a steak and
It's stick light bulbs.
it seemed like there was no thought that went into it, but clearly somebody freaking planned it and put it all together. So.
And wait till our next segment where we actually do inhale steak vapors.
No. Banned. Canceled.
And don't quote me on that. New York Times.
Not doing it. Next clip, please.
You hid your vape underneath your pillows.
Yeah.
And you would come and smoke how often?
Oh, I couldn't go longer than 10, 15 minutes without hitting
Every
it.
day, bro.
It was
It's
so
every
addicting.
day,
I brought
bro.
it with me everywhere I went.
Seema Herman never expected that what she thought was a harmless habit, vaping, would end up nearly killing her.
It took 2 days for my lungs to fail, and I almost died.
Jeez.
The 18-year-old going viral with this photo from her hospital bed, a tube still pumping oxygen to her failing lungs. In her hands, a call to action.
Asked for a pen and paper because that was the only way I could communicate. And I wrote, I want to start a no vaping campaign. That was the first thing I did when I opened my eyes.
Seema's story is just the latest in a landslide of incidents linked to vaping,
All right, so let's
sparking
stop
what
that
many
right there for a
officials are.
second.
Yeah, let's.
So this comes in light of, talks about how vaping is dangerous.
Did they pass the legislation?
Well, it's been talked about.
Yeah.
And I don't
Okay.
think it's totally been passed
I
yet.
wasn't sure.
But, I don't know how you could be inhaling smoke of any kind every single day and think it was completely, harmless.
And the other thing is, where were her parents? She was smoking every single day. Juul packs. If she's smoking Juul, they're not totally cheap. Somebody was paying for this habit of hers, and where were they the whole time? You can't smell it. It's ridiculous that suddenly we're all activists about this vaping issue, and I don't personally vape, but I could see how it could be unhealthy. It just doesn't look like a healthy thing to do, to be hooked up basically to a vape respirator all day.
Right. And the rest of the interview said that she was smoking a cartridge a day, which is the equivalent of a pack. So she was
Smoking a pack
of cigarettes a day, like pretty high nicotine intake. Yeah, that's dangerous. And she's in high school. So what are these vendors doing when you've got high schoolers walking in? She claimed that she just said that she was 22, and they were like, okay, we're gonna give you something that's highly addictive and not good for your body. There needs to be a much stricter regulation of that.
And I feel bad for her. And it is a major problem. I've heard from a lot of local schools that vaping is a major problem in schools. And there should be some legislation to cover that. But, I mean, are we just going to ban vaping? Are people not allowed to make these decisions for themselves? And she's obviously underage, so it was illegal in the first place. But, I mean, this whole thing that we legislate people's choices, I think is kind of ridiculous. And I hope she recovers quickly. Like, nothing against her. Like, it's horrible what she went through. But, I mean, obviously vaping an entire cartridge a day is not ever going to be good for you. And I think it'll be interesting to see what happens if they do push any legislation on this.
All right, so let's go to the next clip.
Aww.
This video's been making a rounds lately.
It's so cute.
It's so cute. Those kids are so freaking cute.
My friend, you are just adorable.
Agreed.
I think he's showing him a little car that he has.
It just goes to show, with all the crazy stuff happening in this country, that kids are totally immune to it all. Kids are very genuine, nice people until they're taught otherwise. And you gotta love this kind of clip.
I think this was in New York, and while I wouldn't advise letting your toddlers just run down the street in New York like that, it's super heartwarming, it's super endearing. Like, kids are,
they're an open book.
They're as kind as we teach them to be.
Yeah, they're an open book.
So more of that. And we'll go
Anthony
next.
Scaramucci used to be a huge
this interview's
Trump
great.
fan. In
I
fact,
love
even had a
this.
short stint at the White House as communications director. But now,
The
complete
mooch.
180, claiming Mr. Trump is not a suitable president. The mooch now refers to Mr. Trump as incompetent, in mental decline, melting down, and said the guy is losing it. Joining me now, Anthony Scaramucci.
I can't even believe I got let back in the
Scaramucci.
building.
I know. I think that was a big mistake.
I also said Trump noble, like a nuclear meltdown. But go ahead.
That
What do you want to
was
talk
funny,
about?
man.
No, it wasn't. That was
It
a
sounded like
flop.
it was a
That's the
compliment.
only thing we can talk about
You're
with you.
good.
I know you're jealous of Spicer, by the way, for going on Dancing with the Stars. So
Oh
just
my
admit
God.
that.
Don't even get me started
Actually, I
on
don't know how to dance, so that's one of my
Well, neither does
weaknesses.
he.
Yeah, well, I don't know. No, look, I wish him well on that show. I think that's great for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you, I guess, in the beginning of the primary in 2015, 2016, Scott Walker, Jeb Bush guy. Then you got on the Trump train, and now you're saying you may even vote for a Democrat in 2020.
I never said
What's
that.
going on?
Oh, so shocking.
I never said I was going to vote for a Democrat. The Republican operatives put out false information that I was at a Joe Biden fundraiser. I was not. I was at a children's fundraiser in the Hamptons where Vice President Biden
the
came
Hamptons.
and spoke and accepted a
the
award
children.
You
for
said
Joe
you'd
Biden.
consider voting for a
No, I
Democrat.
said.
And we
let's see
reported
what
on that.
happens. I
There's
don't like
a
answering
bunch of top Democrats at that
This guy is no
fundraiser,
longer suitable
and
to be
Scaramucci actually sang.
he's
There's
acting
no video
completely
footage of
nuts.
it, but
Oh, he
according to
sang?
reports, there are
I see you got my
there
book
are
there, so
reports
we're
that
gonna
he
talk
was
about my book.
singing
You can
at
put up the
it.
quotes. But let's go over the
Not
last
official.
2
He
or 3
wasn't
weeks.
an official
He's
singer.
called
Just
Jerome- he's
karaoke
attacked
time.
the FBI unmercifully since he started. He's going after Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve. These are august
Amen.
institutions of the United States. He said, "Who's a worse enemy of the people, President Xi or Jerome Powell?" And
Not
the
untrue.
list goes
I
on and
understand
on
that,
and on
but
and
the
on.
president
And here's what
has
he does. He
always
turns on everybody.
been
Let me tell you something. I'm
Like
finished.
that. It's not. This
Let me
isn't a
finish.
new type of.
Oh, this is where it
Become
starts
way
to like
worse.
No, I
fall
don't
apart
think that it's
completely.
worse. He's always
It's like
been
if
a little.
Roy Cohn.
I feel like you
chaotic,
could find
and
this
he's
similar
always
situation
questionable.
in almost
you're
every
gonna
pizza
defend him.
shop
I'm
in
not
Brooklyn.
defending
Correct? I mean, you're a
I'm
New Yorker.
already
Correct me
defending
if I'm
him.
wrong.
No, you're about right.
I'm
This
not
is like
defending him.
old
Let
school
me just show you what you
Brooklyn, 2 men in the
said
street
about
just
the
yelling at each
Two
other.
Italians duking it out.
Roy Cohn and Joe
let's roll
McCarthy had a
this.
baby.
Roll
It would be
this.
Is
Donald
Waters
Trump. He's a
Italian?
full-blown
No.
Democrat.
No,
You
Totally.
have to look at the 0 to the American presidency in 19 months. You can't say that there wasn't some level of political skill and instinct and some level of genius in terms of his judgment.
So this guy will leave everything on the
Oh
field.
yeah, they're rolling all the
no matter
clips
who
of the
who's
mooch
in there with him. People
praising the
50 years
praising
from now are going to study
Trump.
what he's doing. President's 100% right. There's another reason why the president's going to win.
And Scaramucci is
So
a
he's 100%
record
right,
setter.
He's going to win. He's a genius.
He's taking a lot
I
of
think he was, was it 11 days he was in the White House? I think that's the shortest tenure of anybody in U.S. history. And I might be wrong on that, but I don't think so.
It's because he's a front stepper.
It is.
People, you're in the press.
Gone.
Well, he did call the New York
saying
Times
this
and
is
say
in
it
context.
personally. I don't.
That's
I
not in
can't
context.
play an hour
I
of
said
your
he's got
South.
very on these several issues. The racism, the full-blown racist tropes against the Congresswoman. Sorry, I can't defend that. The very next day, he attacked me. Then he went after my wife. She's a civilian.
Right.
He is a fascist. He's going after individual private.
Who's a fascist?
Trump.
Is a fascist?
Oh, the first thing in the
He used the
fascist
F word.
manifesto
What is that?
is going after private
Throw it out there.
citizens using your political power. He attacked my wife on his Twitter feed.
Listen,
He's a
if he attacks
disgusting.
someone's wife, obviously you're going to get very upset about
Ted
that.
Cruz
He's
said
not
he's
a
a
fascist,
sniveling.
and you know better
What are
than
you
that.
talking about? He
Let me
uses his
ask you,
political
though,
power
because
and goes after.
At this
people.
point, nobody
You
can really
know
hear what
what
either
I
of them
think
saying
you're
because they just
getting
keep
really
talking
tired
over
of
each
Trump.
I
other.
know,
I'm not
just
attacking.
shouting.
No, I think he's a good president.
No.
I think that you now.
No, you.
Because the president has always been like that.
No.
You're
This
the one that
guy-
changed
I
it.
think
I'm
the
one
thing
of
out of
those
this is
who
Scaramucci will
found
do
out
anything
Fish
for
Club,
press
you were
coverage.
in with
I mean, this guy just
Tom
loves
Brady.
press.
You were Jr.
Honestly, it makes him not too dissimilar than the president. But this is a guy that came in, said him and the president were exactly the same, and that they're both from New York and they like each other. And now he's totally turned to 180.
I mean, that's how all toxic
He couldn't
relationships
make it as a
starts,
result of
right?
a scheduling
Like, this is
conflict.
my soulmate,
As a
and then,
rain
oh
check,
no,
he spoke to 10 or 15
maybe
of
not
my
what I
clients.
thought it
I
was.
turned to him and said, hey, half the room is Democrats, half the room is Republicans.
I do have to
If you
agree,
wanna
though,
raise money
that
for your father, that's totally fine. That's exactly what I said.
President Trump
So now
uses
it's
his
gotten
Twitter
convoluted.
to single out individuals quite a bit, even those who are not
Like I said,
in
if
office.
you're
So
9/12 for the guy,
I don't think that
and
that's
you're not
really
13/12 for the
great
guy, he's gonna
behavior.
turn on you. You better be very
You're saying he's
careful.
gonna
I mean,
turn on me?
it's interesting. I mean, CNN doxed I believe a teenager for posting a meme, so it goes both ways. I mean,
Yeah.
the media is totally taking the exact same things that Donald Trump has and done the exact same. Like,
Not saying that they haven't, but he's the
Dislike
president.
about the
So
president,
Anthony,
Jess?
here's my question to you.
See, because the minute
there's a
you say
huge difference
something
between
out of
being
line,
the president
Do you
and then
realize you're
being in
getting used
media.
by the media? By
I'm my own guy. I've
CNN,
been my own guy my whole
MSNBC?
life.
Do you realize when they have
Not
you
at all.
on to bash the
We could probably
president,
cut
they're
this. This
using
is just
bashing,
like
but-
them going back and forth constantly. Just two guys in Brooklyn yelling about some stuff.
yeah, it turns into a total train wreck. I mean,
Yeah.
it's obvious that Scaramucci, well, first of all, he's got a book he's selling. He's doing his book rounds right now. Can't blame him for that. But the whole thing about him flipping on the president, I think is ridiculous. I mean, he showed up to Hampton's fundraiser with a bunch of top Democrats. Now he's anti-Trump. He's run investment firms. And it's obvious that it's probably just for the good press and the good financial backing.
I mean, probably, but it's just like, what, two teenage girls on Twitter just trying to.
Yeah.
I think it's stupid the way that Trump even responded to Scaramucci. Like,
Yeah.
why would you?
I mean, it doesn't pay to be a Trump supporter, and I think Scaramucci has gone over the Democrats because he's gotten more positive press that way, and he's gotten more positive attention.
I mean, well, okay, so let's take his point about how he was supporting the president in some aspects and then criticized or critiqued, other aspects of what he'd done. And then saying that that's when Trump turned on him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of that same mentality in the public, right? Either when you are a Trump supporter, and this is from every single debate and engagement I've been in with like groups of Trump supporters, where even if you're in general a Trump supporter, if you say one bad thing about him, the entire crowd turns on you. Like they will just I don't know, tear you to shreds if you develop any sort of critical thinking, because I mean, no one's perfect. You should be able to criticize somebody without being like yelled at. He's got Trump has super fans. That's really what that is. Like,
He does. A lot of people really like the president. And I think a lot of people, Trump supporters that I know who are friends of mine, they like how the president fights back, and this is why he continues to do it. His messaging works, and whether it's right or not, I mean, let's be honest. This is a president that, up until he was president, was, he was a media figure. The guy was on Comedy Central roast. He roasted people, and he's taken the exact same kind of approach to the White House. And I don't think we've ever seen anything like this in modern history.
For better or for worse. I think it's for worse.
As President Trump described it, it's modern day presidential.
Oh God. All right, well, let's roll the next one. So the story behind this is actually this kid, the one wearing the striped sweater in the back. He was being bullied by his schoolmates for wearing the same clothes every single day. Which, that's a reality for a lot of people. You can't afford to wear new clothes every single day. So he was being bullied for that. And the two guys who were standing next to him, they decided that they would get him some clothes and some shoes. So.
Yeah, I got him some new clothes, and God bless him, man. This is the kind of thing that more Americans, we need to take care of our own. We should not depend on the government to, do this kind of thing, and we should depend on our own friends, our own citizens to give to people. And God bless him for helping that kid out. I mean, he obviously, felt bad about it.
Well, you took a government spin on that because you had to talk about it that way. We have a really hard time in this society, I think, building accountability towards one another, especially for people who aren't like us. I think it's something, I agree that that's something that would be difficult to enforce policy-wise, but that doesn't mean that there aren't certain efforts that should be made to, at least set an example for people in the United States, how to be kind to one another, how to recognize people's differences and learn to accept them. And I think that comes much more from education than from policy for a lot of things, but I wish there were more people like those two guys who decided to step up and help somebody who was being bullied.
And everybody has been on, everybody's had low points in their life, and for them to step up and be good Samaritans, we just need more like that in America. I think it's a great thing. And then just a little more background. It happened in Miami at an the MLK Academy, I believe. It was reported by Fox.
And it's also Suicide Prevention Week in the United States. September is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. It's a time where we have to really, think about and reflect on people's mental health. How do they get to the point where they're wanting to self-harm or end their lives? It's bullying is a serious problem. Cyberbullying is a serious problem. And it's not just kids, it's adults too. So again, building more accountability, stepping up, and just being kind towards one another. That's a really, really important message that these kids are showing today. And, I think kids are, in some ways, honestly, kinder than adults are to each other.
I don't know, sometimes kids can be really mean
Kids
to each
can
other.
be really mean. No, kids can be really mean. And, this kid was getting bullied by his schoolmates. Yeah. But I think that some adults have forgotten that, that aspect of human interaction as well.
Yeah. No, thank you to those kids out there. Thank you for doing that and helping that kid out.
And I think that that sums up our weekly video roundup. So stay tuned for the next episode, but we will do exactly the same thing. We hope you guys enjoyed it. If you can, subscribe to our YouTube channel and
Go like us on Facebook, on Twitter. You can search Claire under her name. You can find me under my name and follow us. And we'll be putting stuff out constantly. And reach out anytime if you have anything that we should cover. Please let us know, and we'd love to cover it. And just reach out anytime. We're very available. So I appreciate it.
Wow, desperate much. He's super available, guys.
Good.